YouTube Live, what's going on? Waiting for Facebook and Facebook Live. Hello, 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 and welcome back, everyone, to the Gentlemen of Crypto, episode 70. I am King, and Bitcoin Zay is traveling. I think he's in North Carolina right now, so our East Coast folks can see him there. It's been an interesting week, but first, happy holidays. Hope everybody's Christmas, holidays, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever it is you celebrate went well. What's going on my Facebook Live, folks? I see a couple of people popping in. Hope everybody holidays went well, but we couldn't do Friday's show. I was traveling, plane got delayed for 6 hours, so I was stuck at the airport. And then I got back, and Bitcoin Zay was like, "Hey man, I'm about to head out to the East Coast." So we're both traveling left and right, but we wanted to make sure we do another show. What's going on, Ariel? Welcome back to the show. Had to make sure we did a show the day after the holidays because I know it was crazy for a lot of people. I have A-Dub. What's going on, A-Dub, the guy? What's going on, Chief Tafuri? How you doing? But yeah, wanted to come back today, make sure we do a show. Tomorrow we're going to have a very special show. We're going to do an interview with an ICO B token. Their ICO founder used to work for Uber. He did some development with them. What's going on, Light and Source, and their co-founder. They work with Draper, I believe, Don Draper, as well as there's a couple other big companies. So we'll have all that for you tomorrow as well, though. But without any delay, let's jump straight into the show. I know a lot's going on. First and foremost, the Bitcoin flash crash. Everybody was going crazy. Our phone was off the hook this weekend. Crypto Q in the house. Everybody was talking about Bitcoin, dropped 40% and all this bad stuff. Of course, all the FUD stories. The bubble was finally in. I saw all this negative press coming out. So there's a couple of things we definitely need to correct. What's going on, Angela? First thing is Bitcoin really didn't have a big crash, all right? In the last 30 days, I think Bitcoin went up about 75% or something ridiculous. So of course the correction was coming. If you watch us every day, what's going on, Brianna? We have been waiting for it anyway. We've been anticipating some type of correction and pullback, which we finally saw over the holidays. It happens every year. Going into Christmas, it's a big sell-off. I mean, literally, if you would have saw the price of Bitcoin last year, this exact same time, I think it was about $800 or something. It pulled back the same way. I mean, it dropped like $150. Which again wasn't a lot. Hey, that's right, Antonio. Nobody was expecting this. I had to come in today. But yeah, so last year around the same time, price of Bitcoin, like I said, it was anywhere between like $900 around this time. Because I know we went into the New Year, hit $980, then hit $1,000 kind of on Bitcoin birthday. So we saw the same type of price. We saw the same type of pullback. Literally this time last year, year before that, was a little bit more steady because it was already so low after the 2014 crash. But literally we saw the same thing with just one less zero last year. So or a couple less zeros actually. So not a big deal. It pulled back as you saw this morning. Bitcoin's, from what I checked, I think Bitcoin's back up to 16,000 again already. So yeah, it's 15.7 right now. So yeah, so the best thing you can do during these times are hold, and hold some more, people. We always say that, we preach that because we really mean it. And then again, it's funny. A lot of people, I talk to people who are selling their Bitcoin while it was crashing. It's just like, people always talking about, I wish I would have gotten into Bitcoin earlier. I wish I would have bought Bitcoin cheaper. I wish Bitcoin was at a better price. Well, the other day we had Bitcoin at a great price of like 11,000 and something, and then people were selling it. So that to me made no sense. But now that's back up to 15,000. And then next week, once Bitcoin I think bounces back to about 17,000 plus, it's gonna be people trying to buy it again with the same complaints. Well, it's too high to buy. It's like, well, last week you could have bought it almost for 50% off and you chose not to. But it's one of those things. If you can't handle losing 40% every so often in the market, then maybe the 1,000% gain isn't for you either. But they come with both. And then for the people who are out there, traders, we got traders that watch us. If you're out there trading, whether you're a new trader, advanced, and all that, make sure you are setting stop losses and putting limits on your sales. And for those who don't know what that means, it's basically when you go into the trade, especially the alt markets right now, because they're crazy. But some people are trying to buy Litecoins, and all these coins are pretty low. Well, what you do is you go in. I think on the video Bitcoin Zay made for our Bittrex video, he showed people, but not. We have a chart that we can put on Instagram as well. But you go in when you buy your coins, automatically go in and decide what you're comfortable with losing. So if you're comfortable losing 20% of what you bought, put that order in wherever exchange you use, and put that order in to say, hey, if the price drops below this, or if it hits this number or drops below it, then automatically sell the rest of whatever I have, or a certain amount. So when you put those losses in, you can't walk away from your computer, for few hours or a few weeks, whatever, and look back at it. And then if it did dip too low, you've already sold out and you made your money still. So make sure you're putting the stop losses in, put your limits in. And then if you are, like I said, if you are messing with some of these altcoins or even trading right now in general is a very volatile time. If you are trading, then make sure you have access to your laptop and internet and all that good stuff as well. So just some little tips and hints for a lot of people that's in that space doing that, because we don't want to see you get wrecked, and it is very possible at this time right now. Hold on. Let me go to this video so I can see these comments. What else do we have going on? Bitpay. So for those who don't know, Bitpay is a Bitcoin payment processor for merchants. Usually is also peer-to-peer, but a lot of stores and businesses have it. Well, Bitpay on Friday, they came out and said that their minimum payment amount, which used to be $5, they were switching it to $100. And they were citing the fees and the clogged network. We talked about that last week, the clogged Bitcoin network and the high fees. That's why they were changing it. Only for 2 days later, of course, after the outlash and Twitter going crazy on them, they came back out and said, well, never mind, scratch the idea. We're going to keep it at $5. So interesting, but the reason why that for them their payments, the mining fees and everything are so high, specifically for Bitpay, is because they haven't implemented SegWit. And they even talked about SegWit. They said notably the company still has not implemented support for the SegWit scaling solution on its platform as of this week, despite admitting that it would help increase the capacity of the network and allow an average Bitcoin miner fee reduction of over 40%. So you literally have Bitpay acknowledging that if they were to implement SegWit, then their fees would drop 40%, but they haven't done it. Again, this is kind of like the same thing with Coinbase people that, they have the mechanisms to make fees cheaper, to make, the network better and all that. But instead, it's a bunch of businessmen who are out there businessmen and women looking out there to cash in. So they're not doing it. Here, I see all these comments, what's going on. There we go, Antonio. Hold and buy. Yeah, I held and buy it throughout this holiday period. So you said, yeah. Crazy. Great point. Antonio said crazy though. People weren't so fearful. They'd be growing their positions right now. Exactly. The only trading I really did, I had some midterm holds that I was selling off because a lot of pumps were happening this past week. And other than that, just kept buying Bitcoin. I mean, exiting the market at this point is not an option for myself or Bitcoin's day. So yeah, what's going on, Tyler? We've been MIA, but we coming back this week and next week with a lot of stuff. So Anya asks, did we see John McAfee's daily pumps? Yes, we have seen John McAfee's daily pumps. He's actually turned that into a weekly pump now. He'll only be pumping on Mondays, I guess, or his coin, the hold, is what he's saying. But yeah, so John, for those who don't know, John McAfee came out just last week, and every day he was pumping a new coin. Thankfully, I was holding a couple of them already, so... but yeah, he was pumping a bunch of coins. Some are shooting up 200, 300, 400%. What's going on, Evan? But he looks like he's been getting a lot of pressure from the community, so he came back this week and he said that he's only going to do weekly pumps, which looks like will only be Monday. So he pumped one this Monday morning. I don't know, honestly, I'm not even paying attention to a lot of stuff. We have our own strategy, but good for him. So we shall see. All right, so the Bitcoin, for the free Bitcoin, I'm not going to be able to catch up with that until the end of the week because we have the interview with the ICO tomorrow. And I'm not sure what Bitcoins they did Friday. I gotta go back and look at the video as well. So we shall see. Let's see. And then I know a couple people were asking about Charlie Lee, selling off his Litecoin. I know we kind of covered that and some of his tweets about 2018. Basically, I think it's a good thing for Litecoin. Charlie Lee is a developer. For those who saw his interview on CNBC about a week or two ago, I think it was 2 weeks at this point. That was the first time I ever saw him speak publicly. So I wasn't sure. I always see him on Twitter, right? But I saw Charlie Lee speak publicly, CNBC interview, and after seeing him speak and hearing him speak, I am now very confident that he is just a developer. He needs to develop, and what I mean by that is you can clearly tell, he had a little bit of the nerd geek to him, which is a good thing to me because that tells me you know what you're doing in this space. So I think a lot of him what it had to do with selling his coins, and he then did a tweet. Was talking about some of the new developments they have coming in 2018 is going to be a big year. That's him going back down to developer mode, not worried about everything else in the business side of things. He's worried about creating a better product. So I think that's a positive thing. And then here was a big story to me. Hedge fund magnate Mike Novogratz, which we talked about a lot of times, the Novogratz fund that was supposed to come out here toward the end of December. he is now shelving his cryptocurrency fund. He's delaying it, as he said. He cited a couple of reasons, one of which was that the market is very volatile, but he also said that he didn't want to open up an investment fund at the same time. He was trading his own Bitcoin because it would kind of conflict, have conflicting interests. Even though Goldman Sachs and everybody did that with the housing crisis, with the bonds and everything they were buying and selling for themselves as well as betting against the market. But I don't know. Again, not going to talk any mess about Mike Novogratz. He got in the game early. I'm sure he knows what he's doing. However, weak hands. Again, it's weak hands. It's never a bad time to buy Bitcoin at this point. Bitcoin is still at a price that I think we haven't even seen the huge bull market come. We've seen little bits and pieces. It's a good thing that right now it did dip because now we're about to consolidate. I think it only lasts for about a week or so because January 3rd is Bitcoin's birthday, and every year it usually goes up on January 3rd once people realize it's Bitcoin's birthday. But if you're buying right now when it's low, then on January 3rd, you have the option to do a lot more things. You can sell it, you can short it, you can go long, you do whatever you want. So, I think the best is still yet to come, but it was interesting to see somebody this big in the space delay their fund because of the wild price swings when they already know this is to be expected. If anything, and again, not a personal knock against him, maybe it's his company, but if anything, when I see a fund getting delayed, that to me says you don't have any real traders there. Because between myself and a few other people I know, people did very well this past 5 days in Bitcoin and crypto in general. You just need to know what to expect. We expected the Bitcoin dump. That meant alts were going to pump high. And then as soon as the dump was over, literally the day after Christmas, we saw the same thing with Thanksgiving. The day after Thanksgiving, like you can go back to the charts, the price of Bitcoin skyrocketed and stuff. So it's one of those things, if you know how to trade, the price doesn't matter, the fund doesn't matter, the time doesn't matter if you know how to trade. So by him delaying that fund, if I was an investor, I wouldn't invest in it because I'm like, well, what if 6 months from now everything's good and we do invest with you and the same thing happens? Are you all going to, again, get the weak hands and start selling and getting scared? So I don't know. To me, that was very interesting. Again, I'm not talking any mess about Mike Novogratz. I know he's done very well in this space. But delaying the fund tells me you have a lack of traders or a lack of good traders, because if it was, me advising him, I would be like, hey, let's move forward right now. Like, let's not wait. Let's keep going. So, yeah, he's long term about it. Exactly. I think what it really was, he said, he sees the price jump, kind of jumping up and down between $10,000 and $16,000. But of course, that's a big swing when you're talking about millions of dollars, possibly billions of dollars. So I think he just wanted to wait until a safer time to enter the market with his clients. That way they can come in and see a big win, not come in and see a big loss. But we'll see. Something else big, though, that makes me bullish on Bitcoin was the $1 million Bitcoin bet. For those, we talked about this before when Ledger X was launched earlier this year. I think it was launched in October, November-ish. It was the first main platform for Bitcoin derivatives. But one investor, and by one investor, they're saying it's probably like a large fund or a capital management fund or a bank or something. But one investor went in and bought $1 million of Bitcoin options at $50,000. So what that means is if Bitcoin hits $50,000 by December of 2018, so this time next year, if it hits $50,000, then the owner will be able to, they will have the right to buy 275 Bitcoins for $50,000 a coin, which is a transaction of about 13.8 million. Now, again, this is probably an institutional, either investors or investors doing this because, of course, $1 million on a $50,000 Bitcoin option bet is huge. But for me, it says two things. A, I'm bullish on it because I'm not putting up $1 million, but somebody else is, which makes me think they've done their due diligence and homework. But also, that's not, when you look at the percentages, that's not that big of a percent gain. From right now, it kind of is, but we're just at the 19,000 mark, so that's not a huge percent gain. As far as this year, when we went from $980 all the way up to 19,000, that was huge. So next year to say, okay, depending on where we end the year, let's say $15,000, $17,000, $18,000, can we get that up to 50,000 by next December? And I think the answer is yes, because I remember back in 2016, a lot of the huge technological advances that they're working on, they're not even due out until mid 2018 on the roadmap for a lot of these things. So you're talking about the craze that we saw this year in the FOMO. It's going to be bigger next year once some of these things are unrolled. So I'm pretty bullish on it. I like that bet as well. We'll see what happens. Again, The downside is they could lose their $1 million, but again, if they're betting $1 million, I'm sure they have it. And to have an upside of almost $14 million, that's a big bet to me. I think it's a good bet. If I had it, I would probably take it. No, I would. I would probably just buy $1 million of Bitcoin if I had it, because again, I think you can still do better in that market. But I don't know. It's something definitely to look at and consider when you're in this space. Let's see some of these comments. You says 90 at okay. And then last story, but a really goodwill story I wanted to cover, because everybody always talks about the negative stuff in the crypto space and Bitcoin. Well, Pineapple Fund, for those who saw it, Pineapple Fund has donated $1 million in Bitcoin to the Internet Archive this Saturday. And Pineapple is a Bitcoin-only charity established in early December of this year, whose ultimate goal is to give $86 million worth of Bitcoin to various nonprofit organizations. They said to this date so far, they have given 657 Bitcoin, approximately 8.5 million, to 13 organizations which focus on specific areas such as providing clean water to the sub-Saharan Africa, building technology for universal healthcare, and improving the treatment of age-related diseases. Again, goodwill story. You know, whenever you look at the internet or online, I think today I saw one where I think South Korea was trying to figure out how to regulate and ban new exchanges and stuff because all the scams going on and money laundering. You always hear about that. You always hear about the negative stories, but again, a lot of this technology is to give back. You know, it's for the underbanked, it's for the unbanked. You have charities in here where people are giving out their Bitcoin. Of course, we're not a big charity, but we try to give out the free Bitcoin every day and everything. So there's people in the space that are doing positive things with it. So it's one of those things with the FUD. Definitely the ICOs for the most part died this summer, I think. But no, I think next year they're going to be revamped. I mean, I just saw today an ICO raised $36 million in 60 seconds. What was that? Singularity Net. Yeah, they raised $36 million in 1 minute. Granted, they had 20,000 people registered for the ICO, but no, I think we're just getting started with ICOs. You know, it kind of died off a little bit this year. I think next year we might see more regulations in some of them in different countries, but the good ones will continue to excel. I don't think it'll be as many. The volume will be down, but the good ones will definitely continue to excel. What's going on, Thomas? How you been, man? Hope everything is well. You said bread. I haven't done enough homework on bread right now to speak on it, so let me. I'll look at it and I will get back to everyone on the bread. Yeah, Korea market is popping right now. Has anyone tried trading? Yeah, Korea, the market is huge, but again, I saw they were trying to regulate some of their markets because it was, you know, there are a lot of scams going on. And one of the rules they put in place, or one of the rules they drafted up, was going to be putting age restrictions on trading. Again, this is how it starts. So first is the age restriction, then it's going to be a monetary restriction. So I am not with the regulation, of course. I think it's a free-for-all, whether you're you know, there's traders out there who are 13, 14 years old who are doing well because they have all day to look at all this information. And there's traders out there who are 34 years old doing terrible. So I don't think it should be an age restriction on it. It should be what it is right now. It's you do your own due diligence, do your own research, and good luck. It's an open market. It's a free-for-all. And I think restricting it in any way is going into the wrong direction. So we'll see what happens with that. And again, last thing, tomorrow, like I said, it'll be a special interview we'll be doing with B-Token. I'll actually pull them up right now. I had a chance to speak to their co-founder and founder already. Again, you know, our interviews, they're unbiased, probably about 30 minutes. It'll be an unbiased, objective interview. Ask them the questions everybody wants to know as investors. After the interview, of course, you need to do your own research, but and it's a sponsored interview as well, so, you know, they're paying for it, but so make sure that's clear as possible. Again, I'll go over that again tomorrow, but it'll be something good to check out. You saw our first interview when we had the first CEO of the ICO on there. I cannot think of the name right now, but again, it was a chance to pick his brain. And for those who had comments, we you know, directed your comments to the founder as well. So it'll be a good time to see a possible huge ICO. It'll be a chance for you to talk to the founder and co-founder as well. So that'll be tomorrow, and that's for B-Token. Here, I'll look at a couple more comments before I get out of here today. Again, let's see. Yep, it's a free-for-all. That's right. 16-year-olds can join the army and kill people, but 16-year-olds can't trade. Exactly. How crazy is that? How do you cash out? So sometimes if you're having problems, that's a good point. If you're having problems cashing out some of your exchanges, don't try to cash out at that exchange. Send your Bitcoin to another exchange where it might be easier to cash out. Again, sometimes Gemini is pretty good. Uphold's pretty good, UPHOLD. And then as a primer, one thing I've been telling everybody lately is sign up for almost every exchange out there, whether you're onboarding, offboarding fiat currency, or you're just looking to trade. At this point, you need to sign up for every exchange because we're seeing exchanges again just go down left and right. They're having issues, maintenance, they can't scale. Again, everybody wants to talk bad about Bitcoin, but if you look at the exchanges and the businesses in the crypto area, everybody's going through the same thing. Everyone can't scale fast enough. The volume is too high as far as customers. The liquidity is too low on some of the exchanges for the traders. So all these issues are happening right now at the same time. Again, these are issues that are being worked out. They're going to get worked out. And then again, by next year, January, we'll see a little bump, like I said, for January 3rd for Bitcoin's birthday. It'll consolidate a bit. And then tax time in the U.S., people, come on. It's definitely going to be people buying Bitcoin next spring and everything, late winter, early spring and all that. So I'm good on it. And any ideas on Segwit 2? No, we didn't support Segwit 2X here. Segwit 2X was a business venture trying to take over Bitcoin. So no. There we go. All right, so that's all we have for today. Again, we'll continue with the free Bitcoin. Not tomorrow, because again, tomorrow's gonna be the interview. So we'll probably continue with the free Bitcoin on Friday. We'll give out the last video from last Friday, and then we'll put something on there so you all have a chance to get it for Monday as well. Exactly, Crypto Q, there we go. So everybody, make sure you hold. If you're trading, again, set your limits, stop losses, all that good stuff. If you're not trading, continue buying. I bought this past 5 days, did a couple of trades, but bullish on Bitcoin. We expected this dip to happen. Again, we might see another slight dip going into the New Year's because people, again, are about to be traveling and bouncing around countries internationally. Everybody wants to spend money for the New Year. So again, expect a slight dip, but coming out into January, we're going to get off to a strong start just like we did this year. And again, people, if you're worried about the price, I need you to remember, literally this time last year, Bitcoin was probably like $900, 800 and some bucks, all right? And now we're talking about 15, 16,000. We are in a great place. And next year, I expect us to have this same conversation when I say, you remember, guys, last year, Bitcoin was $935. Okay, Bitcoin last year was $935 this day, $935. And then this time next year, I expect to say, hey, guys, remember, Bitcoin was 16,000. We're at 44 right now. We're at 56. Let's not worry, all right? Here we go. Hey, have a good one. It's always great seeing everybody. Again, you can follow us Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and of course, subscribe here at YouTube at Kirby Crypto. And then again, tomorrow will be B Tokens interview with their founder of that ICO who came over from Uber. They got people there working. They used to work with Don Draper, and then a couple other big companies as well. I think Airbnb and stuff. So there's a lot of big companies, a lot of executives that left to start this up. So I'll talk to them tomorrow and we'll see what they're offering to us as investors. Until then, take care.